Well, time now to slip into a very short break, but on the other side, we talk to Shivinder Singh and Bhavdeep Singh of Fortis Healthcare on how the quarter has gone by for the company and get you more details and insights from them in just a bit. Fortis Healthcare today reported its first quarter earnings. Revenues rose by almost 3% and the company posted a profit of over 87 crore rupees. We are now being joined by Shivinder Singh, Executive Vice Chairman at Fortis Healthcare, and Bhavdeep Singh, Chief Executive at the company. Well, thank you, gentlemen, for joining us here at Bloomberg TV. Well, let me begin by asking, how has the quarter really been for the company, and can you tell us what has really driven growth for Fortis?
Fortis continues to go on the journey that's been on for some time now, and I think the quarter numbers reflect a solid growth over last year, where we're showing a 7% increase in revenue, a healthy growth in EBITDA as well. What's driving this is at the end of the day, good medical programs, working with our clinicians, looking at continuing to provide absolutely the best possible patient care. We're very proud of some of the things that are happening in our hospitals. In fact, just 2 days back, we had the first heart transplant in Bombay that's taken place in quite some time, and that's a big achievement for us as well. So I'm pleased to see that the organization continues to focus on clinical outcomes, great patient care, and continue to drive and improve the healthcare picture in India today.
All right, sir, but what is the overall vision? What's the strategy for growth when we're looking at a cycle longer than a quarter? Can you give us some insight on that?
Sure. I think as we've talked about multiple times before, we're really looking at a 3-year horizon where we're looking at focusing and building out, growing our existing asset base, not going to doing too many greenfields. The 2 greenfields that are already in the pipeline are going to be rolling out in the next few months. Not doing any more greenfields in the next 3 years, and actually making the margins get to its optimum level before we go back and start expanding the network. I think Fortis has in the last 15 years come to a point where it's a very large and a very big organization. I think now the focus is to make it a great clinical organization, which is our focus going forward. So you'll see that in our clinical outcomes like Bhavdeep was talking about. You'll see that in our operating efficiencies and margins. And the only growth that we're looking at doing in these 3 years is going to be bolt-ons, which basically means adding on existing capacity to existing facilities and therefore making their clinical programs and financial strength much, much better. So if I look at the next 3 years, you'll see a significant growth in the existing facilities, see a significant growth in the margin and profitability of the company. As you're probably aware, we've committed the fact that in this financial year, the India business will become profitable. It's not been so for the last couple of years. And next year, we should be in a position to be able to pay dividends out of the India business. Whether we pay or not is a different conversation, but we're calling it dividend payable. So we should have the ability to get to dividends in the next financial year. So that's really where the short and the medium term is looking like for Fortis.
All right, but Mr. Shivinder Singh, if you could also give us some clarity on international asset sales and also how you're positioned currently as far as cash levels are concerned.
Okay, so I'll take both of those questions. I think firstly, on the international level, we've been talking for the last 2 years that we're looking at getting out of our international assets and focusing wholly on India. The last 2 of the most significant large assets of ours, we sold in the earlier part of the quarter. And therefore, we are largely now a completely India-focused business. We have one small asset left, which is in Dubai, which is in the process of being exited, but it doesn't have got any implications on our management structure or focus as an India business. So we're largely an India-focused business. Our organization structure, our roles and responsibilities all relate to that. And therefore, largely we're out of that period that we were focusing on exits. So that's done. It's also given us a serious amount of profit in these exits in that sense. With that, our debt equity ratios have changed completely. Our debt is down to a little over 600 crores, which is 0.13x debt equity ratio. That is largely an FCCB that we have of $100 million. Since it's significantly in the money, we normally assume it to be equivalent to equity, and therefore we're largely a debt-free company. So therefore, the overhang that we had a few years ago about the debt and the international exposure is now completely behind us. We're solely focused on India and looking at growing quality and quantity of that business going forward.
All right, Mr. Singh, so therefore, just want to understand, because there have been news reports about a possible stake sale to a PE firm. Can you tell something about that as well to us?
Well, I think as an organization, as I said before as well, we're looking at focusing on our existing assets. We're not looking out to go to the market to either acquire any assets or pick up debt for doing so. So that's not on the cards right now. The conversation that we have had, and yesterday, day before yesterday, we took a call on our SRL board meeting, which has been ratified by the Fortis board today, is that we have a commitment to our private equity investors to give them an option to exit in a certain period of time for them coming into the company. And we've taken a call in this board meeting that we will give them an option of an exit through a secondary sale. Between the 4 private equity investors we have a total of 33% equity in their hands of SRL, and we are starting off a process now about giving them the option of a sale. We have the option of taking a full, partial or no sale at all. That's a call that they can take. But as a commitment to them, we are going to be starting that process as we go along. And that puts a closure in some ways to a little bit of speculation that's been happening around SRL. So hopefully that will put that to rest and we'll get this process going as soon as possible.
All right, let me bring in Bhavdeep again into the conversation. Bhavdeep, want to understand that between hospitals and diagnostics, what do you think will drive growth going forward?
The healthcare business, as we continue to grow in various medical specialties, the nice thing that we have the opportunity to work together. You have the SRL business. I think it's going to continue to do well. It has done exceptionally well over the last few quarters, and I'm sure it will continue to do that. Our business will also do well. The healthcare business, the hospital business will also do well. So it's very difficult to say what's going to do better. The reality is that if one does better, the other will do better as well. And I think we're very well poised to take advantage of that and be able to give the best possible care to our patients because of that. It positions us in a good way.
And Bhavdeep, can you also give us an outlook as far as occupancy rates and revenues per bed go for the next few quarters?
I think that, as Shivinder just mentioned, our focus, renewed focus on India is going to help us quite substantially as we go forward. So our occupancy rates today, we're hovering in the 70% range. The reality is that as we focus and have a single-minded focus on what's happening in India on our existing facilities, I expect that gradually over time, the occupancy number should get better. It's going to be driven by good clinical practices, expanding our medical programs, investing in our doctors, investing in our nurses. But I certainly expect as we go forward, they'll continue to improve and get better. And again, all driven by the fact that we have a single focus on India, and it'll give us the opportunity to really, I think, have much, much better outcomes as we go forward.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Bhavdeep Singh, and of course, Mr. Shivinder Singh for joining us here at Bloomberg TV India, sharing the entire perspective in terms of the results for now and the future opportunities that you see for Fortis and your strategy there. Thank you. Appreciate you joining us here at Bloomberg TV India. Well, that's all we have on this.